Hello and welcome. Today we'll be talking about the Leatherman Sidekick. This is a small compact multi-tool in the Leatherman Rev and Wingman and Bolster lineup. The weight's going to be 7 ounces. Closed length is going to be 3.8 inches. Open length is going to be 6 inches. Primary blade length is going to be 2.6 inches. The width is going to be 1.27 inches. The overall thickness is 0.56 inches. The blade is made out of 420 HC stainless steel, and it features 14 different tools on its set. The Leatherman Sidekick has a variety of different tools to it in a small form factor, and it has 2 primary tools on the outside which do lock: a blade and a small saw. Here on the top we can see what the tools can be deployed out. On the other side we have the pocket clip for the tool, and then we have the top of the tool here. And then we have the bottom as well, and the sides here with the rivets. Let's get started with the 420 HC stainless steel blade. This is a fantastic blade for its size. It's small, sharp, got a good angle. It has a liner lock to it. It's good for light duty camp tasks, for making feather sticks and other small operations. On the other side we have the other locking tool, which is the small saw. This is a push-pull type of saw. It's good for doing small type of pieces of wood and minor things and light-duty tasks. And it also locks here with the liner lock as well. Moving along, we have the spring-loaded pliers here. And it's our typical Leatherman pliers, where we have the needle nose pliers here in the front, the regular pliers in the center, and these Anvil type of wire cutters in the center. Next up on this side we have our 2D Phillips head screwdriver, and this has got a good length to it. Although it is 2D, it does a decent job of working fairly well for what it's designed for. Now we have the slotted screwdriver here, and this also clicks into place much like the Phillips head screwdriver. It's not a full locking system on the Wingman, but it does click into place and has a good enough retention so that it takes a fair amount of pressure to break that tension. And this is a thick enough slotted screwdriver so that you can use this for a little bit more medium duty tasks, I feel. Moving along to the other side, we have an interesting feature set similar to the Leatherman Bolster and the Wingman set. The Sidekick here features a serrated blade here, and this also clicks into place with the resistant lock to it. And then we have the other tool sets, which is the ruler in centimeters and in inches, a smaller tip here for the smaller slotted screwdriver, and on the other side we do have our single hatched file as well. One thing to note with this is that the smaller tip here is made of weaker metal, so it's only meant for very light duty and very small slotted screwdrivers, or screws rather. Next up is our combo tool, which is on the Rev, the Bolster, the Wingman, and also the Sidekick. This is our bottle cap lifter, can opener, and V-notch wire stripper. And then we have finally the Lanyard Ring, which is only featured on the Bolster, the Sidekick, and the Wingman. And that's our feature set for the Sidekick here. And the reason why I grouped them up with the Sidekick, Bolster, and Wingman is because they all have very similar tool sets. One doesn't have the secondary tool, the other one has a pair of scissors in place of the saw here. We don't have the Wingman to show, for example, but we're going to go over some examples of the blade lengths on the Rev and the Bolster, and we can see the differences and similarities of each tool. So for the tool sets here, we have the Rev on my left, the Bolster in the center, and the Sidekick on the right. And we can tell the Sidekick and the Bolster have similar, if not the same type of blades, where the nail hole is the same position and same size, whereas on the Rev it's at the top here and quite smaller, making it a harder to deploy blade with one hand. Although you can still do it. They all line a lock here, and there's a bit of different modeling on the actual framing of the tool to deploy these types of knives. Let's close these up and go over the plier head of the Rev, as the plier head of the Bolster and Sidekick are the same. We can see the differences between the Rev and the Sidekick here. Immediately you'll know that the Rev is not spring loaded, and that the Rev has what we call bypass wire cutters, which I do typically prefer personally, as opposed to Anvil style wire cutters here on the Sidekick. The Rev also features a package opener in place of the serrated blade, and that package opener is a unique function only to the Rev. There is no lanyard ring with the Rev, unlike the Bolster, Sidekick, and Wingman. So those are some of the differences with the Bolster, Rev, and Sidekick and Wingman lineup. They're all in the same kind of 4 type of category, as their form factor is quite small. Overall, the Sidekick is a fantastic, small, lightweight multi-tool for light-duty tasks at the campsite. And I would gather why they call it the Sidekick is because it makes a good companion or sidekick to a more full-tang, bigger knife, like, say, for example, a Becker BK2. For example, this can be a good companion piece with it, with its smaller tool set and its saw, which can process wood in a different manner than the Becker BK2 can do. If you're looking for something that is small, robust, and more geared towards the outdoors, mainly with the saw, this might be something for you. There are other options, however, out there. Some of those options are going to be a Generation Leatherman Wave 1, if you can get it for used on eBay, for example, for around $40. That would be a good contender compared to the Sidekick, as it features more tool sets on it. It does lack the included pocket clip, so if you're a pocket clip person, maybe the Leatherman Wave Generation 2 would be better, which goes for a slightly more amount than the Generation 1 sometimes on eBay. Generally, the Sidekick goes anywhere from about $35 to $45 or so, maybe a little bit more in this day and age, so keep that in mind on the used market with the Sidekick. If you don't mind not having a pocket clip, the first generation Wave and also the Leatherman rebar I'll recommend, as the rebar has a good amount of tool sets on it comparable to the Sidekick for its size and weight ratio. That being said, this does have a niche role in terms of its size and form factor and its included pocket clip. The second generation Wave and third generation Wave, you may have to invest in a additional pocket clip to come with the tool, increasing its price point. So that's something to remember. These are automatically included with the Rev, the Bolster, the Sidekick, and the Wingman. So that is something to consider with the Leatherman Sidekick. Overall, it's a good tool, and I do recommend it. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your day.